Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope we're all well, I hope we're doing okay. And today, I've just pulled a couple of little cards before I came on. So we've got Earth Mother and Magic Guardian. And yeah, what did I want to talk about today? I want to talk a little bit about when we're on a path of healing, when we're on a path of discovery, when we're on a path of nurturing, on a path of love, on a path of creation, on a path of self-betterment, on a path of light, and connecting to our source, connecting to our consciousness. And what can happen when we start to connect to that energy. And I was watching a video today with Eckhart Tolle, and it's one of the subjects that he talks about many times, and it was about the pain body. And I love listening to his talks and his wisdom on his different on his channels and whatever on YouTube. But this particular video, he was making more emphasis about entities, and how various entities can attach, and how these entities are all these different energies that we encounter in life, from emotions, from feelings, from people, from places, from situations, various triggers. And usually what happens when we have a trigger and we have something that makes us react in a negative way is an entity. It's an attachment to something from your life or another life, that is creating this reaction within you, that is creating this trigger. And what he was discussing and what he was talking about was, he was talking about when we start to become more present, more aware on our spiritual journey. These entities don't like to be seen, they don't like to be discovered. They like to remain hidden in the shadows. That's why we call it the shadow. They like to remain in the shadow, out the way, and let your ego kind of cover things up. And that's kind of how the pain body works. It's about this balance, the stuff that you like to push behind and forget about. In actual fact, this is stuff that you need to expose with light and see and release and heal. And anyway, so he was talking about this, and he was talking about these various things that don't like to be seen, they don't like to be found, and they like to remain in the shadows. And I was thinking, wow, that's just such a great way of explaining it and of talking about it. So I wanted to come on today to talk about it myself on this channel. I know I've done a video before about the pain body, which I will link below in the descriptions box. And also I've done a video about shadow work on this channel and beginning your shadow work journey. But what we need to really talk about, what we really need to discuss is these various energies that we come across in life. And these energies can come, like I said before, in so many different forms and in so many different situations and scenarios. So it could be from a relationship, it could be from friendships, it could be from work relationships, it could be a workplace. Sometimes the actual workplace and the emotion that is created via a workplace, if you don't enjoy going to work, or then that can create a reaction within, and that again is another part of your pain body. It's an entity that needs to be exposed and looked at and realized as to why you react. Again, why you react in these certain situations and behave in certain ways when these different things in life come about. And it probably isn't continuous, it probably isn't all the time. It's just every now and again there might be something in your day-to-day running of things that really irks you or really grinds your gears, and you think, oh, I wish they'd stop doing that, or I wish they'd stop talking about that, or I wish I could get past this feeling about such and such a person or such and such a situation or whatever it may be in life. And these again are these connections to these energies, these entities, these emotions, these feelings that rise up, and the further you go down your healing journey, your healing path, your awakening journey, the more that these things will actually rise up and trigger you, and the more you will feel triggered by situations. And you'll probably think, the ego will probably fire up and say, well, why am I triggering to these situations? I'm supposed to be on my healing journey. I'm supposed to be awakening, enlightening, whatever your term might want to be. But in actual fact, these things will come around a little bit more often, and it's part of what we call Buddha nature, or it's being challenged by the universe as well, people call it. And it's basically just seeing, how far you've come. So if you are feeling tested by various people, by various situations, emotions, feelings, whatever, then take that as a sign from the universe that you're actually on the right path. You're actually making really, really good progress, and you're actually doing a really good job on your healing journey. And I mentioned this before in maybe my last video or the video before last about why isn't my healing working, and people being triggered and people reacting, and I wanted to get this healing because I was feeling like this, or I was reacting to that, but in actual fact it's making me feel more of this, or I'm reacting more to that. I don't know how to get out of this loop. And it's something that when you do start a path of healing, and yes, you discover a healer, an energy healer, whatever modality it may be, and they can provide a certain level of assistance. But beyond that, it's down to you to have a listen to yourself and have a talk to yourself and discuss with yourself what these feelings are that you're feeling, what these reactions are that you're feeling. Why is it bringing up so much emotion? Why do I feel so much maybe negativity towards whatever it may be, whatever the situation, whatever the scenario, whatever the emotion? Why is it all firing this sort of stuff up? And again, I've mentioned this before in other videos, where if we just sit quietly, if we're actually in tune with ourselves, if we're actually well on our healing journey, we should be able to tune into ourselves, into our inner voice, our intuition, our higher self, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names, and when you get to that point and you want to understand why you feel a certain way about whatever the situation, the person, whatever the workplace, then just sitting with it and talking to it and having a conversation about it, or even journal it. Sometimes if you write things down, you will find I find when I'm writing, if I'm writing client notes, or if I'm writing anything for the website, or if I'm writing things for the descriptions boxes on these videos, when I'm writing things down, for me, words sometimes flow better, and I'm able to express what I feel, what I think, what I'm experiencing better when I'm writing it down. And also, as you're writing it down, it's part of that, it's that spelling thing. We talk about being careful what words you use, how you spell things, what you say, what you think, what you put out there, because it's all a manifestation of energy. So when you spell things and you write things down, the reason why it's called spelling or putting a spell and that's the reason why the word is spelling, because when you write something down, the energy that goes into it is the intention, and the intention is everything with the energy that you're putting into those words. So if your intention of what you're putting into those words, of what you're writing down, is to do with your healing journey, and you're wanting to discover a part of yourself that needs healing, something that you can really focus in on, that's really starting to show itself and reveal itself, and you might not be sure why, but it might just be something that keeps niggling you and niggling you and niggling you, and you can't really get to the bottom of it, then sitting down and just writing things down. Sometimes maybe do like a pros and cons list as well, of the situation, of the person, of what might be creating these reactions, and write the pros of it and write the cons of it. And if it's a negative thing, you're probably going to have more cons than pros, which is fine, because you're exposing the dark side of it rather than the light side, and you're bringing it out, you're bringing that shadow out. And then underneath your pros and cons, just start writing about the situation, about the way it makes you feel. Write about the emotions that you feel, write about the reactions that you've had, write about the person that you're writing about and what you feel about them, and why you think that way about them, and why you feel that way about them. So sometimes we can, if we have like an inner dialogue and we're talking to ourselves, sometimes that can take us away from the present moment, because then the mind starts kicking in, and you need to be really, really conscious and really aware of these two polar opposites of the end of being present and being conscious, but then analysing the situation and then having it taken you away from the now, so you can feel and experience everything that you're putting out there and being aware about. You need to be aware of it at the same time. So that's why I say, if you write things down or journal it, or do a pros and cons list, and then have a little self-discussion time with yourself underneath and write these things out. Putting that stuff out there onto paper can be a really good way of bringing light to the situation. It's almost like being creative, it's almost like painting, like drawing, honing a craft, and doing that and shining that light on that situation will put these beams of light all around it and will expose it further. And it'll take more than one session of doing this, along with any of the energy healing that you might be doing, along with your healing journey that you might be on, along with this self-discovery, and all these things will start furring up from the bottom of your tank. It's a bit like it's a bit like a still pond, so when you're present and you're in your now and you're happy, you're zen, you're in your place of whatever it may be, your pond, your water is so still. There's not a ripple on the surface, it's just peace, serene. There's a gentle wind blowing, there's leaves just dropping into the water, creating little ripples every now and again, but that's fine. The surface is just like a mill pond, it's beautiful. But underneath, there's all this stuff churning. There's animals, there's fish, there's creatures moving around which are churning up all the silt and all the stuff underneath. So as you are remaining present and being in the now and being flat and being focused, you become more aware of stuff that is furring up underneath the surface. And as this stuff starts to fur up and it comes further up and nearer to the surface, then you can start to be more aware of it. You can start to feel it. You can feel what's being exposed, what's being released, the various ways that things do like to make us react, like to try and make us trigger. And like I said before, this is all part of your healing journey. It's discovering these triggers, discovering these things that do like to make us react at certain situations, So don't think of it as a negative, think of it as a positive, because you're on the right track. You're on the right path of healing, because you're discovering more about yourself, of which you've buried away and has been tucked away in your subconscious for such a long time. Some stuff you may be consciously aware of, but because you're so consciously aware of, when you come to focus on it, it takes you straight out of your present. So all this stuff that is kind of like furring up from the subconscious, when you are going into your meditation, when you are going into your healing sessions, it's easier to focus on them, think about them, journal them, talk to them, just have a little inner dialogue with yourself if you can. Maybe go into a meditation and talk to these situations if you can, if it's not going to take you out of the present. So you can be totally aware, but be aware as well that these little things, these little entities, these ways we behave, these emotions like to create more ripples under the surface and take you away from this mill pond, and like to create tides and rip tides and move things and churn things, because the more things churn, it gives those entities the energy that they need to just dig in a little bit deeper. So it's very interesting, very interesting analogies, very interesting topics, very interesting things to talk about when we start looking at the dark side of ourselves, the deep side of ourselves that we try not to, most people try not to look at, or think about, or release, or heal, or discover, because like I say, the ego likes to push all that stuff behind you, and you just move on with your day and you forget about it. But then maybe years later, or in another lifetime, all this stuff starts to fur up, and you think, well, where's all this coming from? Why do I feel like this? Why am I feeling like that? Why am I reacting to these situations? And it's all stuff that's stemmed up over time from childhood in this life, from past lives, from energetic bloodlines, from family, from family traumas, through maybe like emotional code therapy, that sort of thing, where the trauma passes through the bloodlines, and it might get to your life where you're able to sever that cord and stop it, and work on the heart wall and release all these things that have been holding you back. Because then the more you release, the more things will start to flare up and show themselves, and you'll be like, well, I thought I got rid of that, but in actual fact you'll have just maybe got rid of a top layer. Because as I was saying in one of my previous videos, if you get rid of all this stuff all in one go, it's not good. It's not good for your energy, it's not good for your physical, it's not good for your mind, your emotions, your spirit, because we need certain aspects of it to keep us balanced, because we're all yin and yang. We all have a dark and we all have a light. If we have total light and we have no dark, then it's just too much. It's not enough. You need that balance of light and dark. But the more light you bring in, the more dark will be exposed and revealed. So when we are going on this path of healing, on this inner discovery, yes, we're bringing in more consciousness, yes, we're bringing in more light as we go on our healing, awakening journeys, but we're also exposing more dark, and exposing it, discovering it, but being happy with it as well, because we now have an understanding of where that lays, where these situations, where these feelings, where these emotions lie. We can now be happy with them because we know where, why, and what is causing the triggers and causing these manifestations, causing these entities to latch on a little bit deeper. And once you've started to discover them and realize them, and you will eventually, your light will shine onto them and it will release them, and they will move away, and they will be healed, and they will be transmuted into positive energy. And that's something that Eckhart Tolle mentioned as well in this video, about as your energy and your presence, your awareness becomes stronger, becomes brighter, becomes more focused and potent, these entities don't like that. They don't like these things. They don't like this light coming in, because, like I said before, it exposes these things. But the more you're aware of it and the more you're present with it, the more you discover it, it heals it. And it heals the situation, it heals the event, it heals the emotion, it heals the mind, body and spirit, layer by layer, and eventually away it goes. And it's a very gentle, gradual process. I discovered when I started my meditation journey many years ago, and I was only doing maybe 3 minutes at a time. At the beginning I eventually slowly built up over time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and built up. Now when I'm doing a meditation, 20 minutes is enough for me now, pretty much. Every now and again I might like to go deep, but 20 minutes for me is enough, and then I will do a healing session after that as well, to heal and resolve anything that might have happened, or what I might feel I might need to release after that. But what I found during those early years of meditation was it was extremely rocky, because I was starting to realize and understand and expose things within me, and within seeing more of what was going on with the people around me that were creating that energy within me. And the meditation gave me clarity of mind, body and spirit, to realize that the situation that I was in was actually manifesting and creating more entities and more darkness within me. So that's why I had to break away from that pattern. And lo and behold, from the wonders of the universe, my job went up for what's the word? When they get rid of a position, redundancy. My job became redundant. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a really, really good opportunity now for me to get out of this situation and go into something new, a change of direction. And all because of this gradual releasing of this darkness, these entities, these things that were just festering away in the background, pieces of myself which wasn't really me, and I was trying to be something that I wasn't. All this stuff was starting to be like sort of flicked away bit by bit, and eventually I got out of there, and my mindset totally shifted to a totally different vibration, of people that I was working with, and then obviously moving into this other job, I discovered my Reiki master, who then put me onto a whole other trajectory of healing. So the moral of this is that we can unlock the magic within us when we are present, when we connect to that energy, to that inner source, that light. It is there within each and every one of us, this Christ consciousness, this awareness, this presence, whatever you want to call it, this source energy. It is within every single one of us. And once we start to tap into it and we tune into it, it really is for the betterment of ourselves, the betterment of all those that are around us, and the betterment of the collective, of the planet, and of the energy of everything and everyone around us. So don't ever feel alone. Feel loved and feel comforted, whether that's by yourself or whether that's within a unit of family, of friendship, of colleagues, whatever. There is always a chance to feel love and be comforted. But the important message is to find that love for yourself deep within. It's within every single one of us. and that is part of your awakening journey, discovering that love within you, that love for yourself, that love and lust for life, for discovery, for awareness, for awakening. It's there for each and every one of us. And when you tap into that, you can become the magic guardian, and you can unlock the magic from within. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to bing me, give me a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. And until then, much love to you all. Namaste, take care of yourselves, bye for now.